Well, it looks like there's a new channel on the block, Crackball Gaming. They just started yesterday, and as they're new to the YouTube scene, it's my job as the ambassador to completely destroy them. So let's do an in-depth analysis of their first video and see how well it holds up compared to literally anything else on this site. The show is run by two co-hosts, a Nukewarm and Itty Bitty, and while those names might not mean anything to you, they certainly mean something to me, or at least I think they do. I feel like I've heard them somewhere before. Well, it doesn't matter. So anyway, their first video was on the recent PlayStation State of Play from August, which caused quite the controversy anyway, but their video just added absolutely nothing to the fuel or the fire, fueling the massive outrage surrounding Sony. Which, I guess that's good in some eyes, bad in some eyes. You could say, well, you didn't get any notoriety from not screaming about Sony being anti-consumer, or you could say, no, that's probably a pretty good thing. Well, regardless of your opinion, I'm here to tell it to you, because your opinions mean nothing. So, yeah, no, it was a bad thing. They're not gonna get any subscribers from this except me and my 3 alternative accounts. So, anyway, let's start digging straight into their video. The first thing that pops up is the intro. I think the intro song is a bit generic, if I might say so myself. Honestly, I think they could have done a better music choice. Something that's more catchy, has some bounce to it. You know, what they picked just kind of felt out of place for the overall tone of the video and what they seem to be going with for the channel, so I'll have to mark them down on their report card for that already. As for their logo, I have to say it's fairly well done. Definitely better than anything I've ever created, that's for sure. Probably paid somebody on Fiverr to do it, though. Definitely not just photoshopped in an outdated 2007 version that's been defunct for over 10 years. No, definitely not. But either way, that was probably the highlight of the video, the intro. Yeah, because the second that's over, they start talking and it's all downhill from there. The first person to talk is Nukewarm, and I just say, he sounds pretty soothing, all things considered, but when you really dig deep down into it, I think he could do a lot more work on his voice. He needs to have at least a little bit of energy, but then again, if they're trying to go for the depressed mopey cat version of YouTube, then there you go, they've got it covered. And let's just say, Itty Bitty, her jokes, they made me cringe 9 times out of 10. And she was the main source of humor in this video anyway, so I would say that that's probably not a good thing. Well, anyway, since they're talking about the state of play, let's talk about what they talked about in the state of play, which was everything. This was a Cliff Notes video on the August state of play, so of course they talked about everything, except it wasn't a Cliff Notes, it was more like a half the length recap of a football game, which, yeah, didn't work out very well. I mean, at that point, I might as well just go watch the state of play myself, which I did anyway. This video was made like a week late, missing all the buzz around the state of play anyway, which was kind of an issue in and of itself, but that's not really their problem. Well, yes it is. I'm making it their problem, but it wouldn't be if I wasn't here, but either way, they were talking about the state of play, and they condensed it from 40 minutes to 20 minutes, which I guess that's half the length, so that's kind of okay, but it's Cliff Notes. They should be like under 10 minutes, I would think. I certainly did not want to watch a recap of the state of play for that long myself, but let's talk about how they actually did. My personal length watching preferences are not too important for this, especially when we're trying to delve into the quality of what they made. First, they tackled Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, and being a massive Crash fan, I would like to say I am super excited for this game, but the way they handled the pacing of the gameplay, specifically the timing of starting it up with their speech, was a bit off. Now, I'm not going to act like I'm a master of lining up gameplay and audio either, but I think they could have done a better job with making the PlayStation PS4 startup screen line up longer and line up better with the start of them talking about Crash 4 itself. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say, except for the Dingodile joke. The Dingodile joke was a little bit I could have done without it. I mean, honestly, that goes for a lot of the jokes. As I said, Itty Bitty supplies most of them, and if I'm to be honest here, which I definitely am, most of them fell flat for me. They did not land as well as they should have. So, I mean, the Crash 4 part, it was fine, but it wasn't exactly, like, great. I guess the one thing I can commend Itty Bitty for is she did do her research on every single game here, so she comes across more knowledgeable than she usually does. But yeah, let's move on to the next portion, which covered a bunch of indie games like Hitman 3 and the VR thing with that, and a lot of other little games like Spelunky 2 and Braid Anniversary Edition and the Pathless game, the Pathless game. And all of those sections they were fine. They were valid concerns, valid criticisms. They did not overstay their welcome very much, and I just have to commend them for that. I would honestly say I kind of enjoyed that part. But then we get past that to the Bug Snacks portion of the Cliff Notes, and here we start to run into some problems. Since this is a bigger portion of the thing, and it's a more notable game to talk about, you have something like talking about, well, literally Bug Snacks, like the song. Well, not really the song, more the actual Bug Snacks, like the spaghetti monster and what it would poop. Why? Why did you spend that much time on this? If you're listening, why? Why? That actually made me cringe and want to stop watching. I would say that is a big thing you want to cut out from any future videos. You want to seem professional, which means you shouldn't be making poop jokes. Seriously. Well, either way, they did go over Bug Snacks pretty well, and it seems like they portrayed that it changed their opinion on the game fairly well, so I'll give it a pass this time. this time, if you do it again, I'm coming for you, okay? So, next up, past Bugsnax, I believe that was getting closer to the end of the presentation, which had, this is some anime games. I really don't care. Just some anime games and Temtem, which is kind of a Pokemon-ish game, and they definitely got it out there that Temtem was a Pokemon game. And they also implied they were gonna review some of these games later at that point, so yeah, it was pretty good, I guess. A pretty decent section, not as good as the first one, and at this point the video is around 15 minutes long, so stuff is starting to overstay its welcome a little bit too long, if I might say so myself. But of course, lastly, we'll be coming up to, what is it? But Godfall. Yeah. Godfall's thing was definitely disappointing for me, and they also portrayed that they felt very disappointed in what they saw with all of the bland explanation, zero energy, all that sort of stuff. They definitely got their feelings out there pretty dang well, which I will commend them for that. But therein lies the problem. Godfall is, I believe, the longest section next to, like, Crash 4. And they were not only, like, pretty much negative that whole time, but I think it kind of overstayed its welcome, as was the whole video at that point, which brings me to the number one problem with it, the pacing. It was kind of paced poorly, and they even said this as they were doing their outro, "We'll endeavor to be more quick next time," which I don't know if that was getting the video out or the video being shorter, like, you know, Cliff Notes should be. But either way, I'd think, since this is their first time on YouTube, definitely, I think it was an okay attempt at a video. It was made with some decent quality, I might say. It was definitely better quality than my earlier videos, that's for sure. But I don't know. They have a lot of work to do before they have any sort of chance at becoming a big YouTuber. So yeah, I guess we'll just see how they grow over time, huh? I sure hope they do and don't suddenly disappear without a trace one day. That'd be unfortunate. Well, either way, I guess that's all I have for this critique. The whole video was kind of it was okay, I'd say. But yeah, that's all I have for this video. I'm making this instead of the Uncharted review that I promised, like, in my Uncharted stream and on Twitter, because, well, I have everything ready, I just am missing one crucial component that I lost, and so we had to get a new one. But, yeah, there'll be Uncharted reviews coming very, very soon, and you won't have to worry about that any longer. So, yeah, I guess that's about it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please consider watching some of my other videos, and goodbye.